Hello, today is Friday, February 26th, 2021, and today we are going to do a couple things. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to switch over to Unity. Yes, okay, so my microphone is working and the camera is actually working today. Good. Camera is the most finicky piece of tech equipment I have ever owned, and I've owned many printers, so it's quite surprising. Anyway, today I actually managed to finish the game that we were working on. So this was for the Games Plus Jam. The details for that are here. It is still going on. There's a couple days left. So yeah, I've actually finished the game for this. I have not submitted it yet. I'm going to do that later today. Need to add a couple things, a couple last minute things. But the first thing we're going to do on the stream today is play through that so I can show you the full entirety of it. It's only like 10 minutes or something. That's fair for a game jam. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start on the WoWie 3.0 jam, which very tight schedule, less than 3 days to do it at this point. It is only like 3 days long, I believe. So yeah, there's 3,000 people joining. We got to do it, right? I have some ideas for this, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over and play this game through its entirety. I haven't changed the title quite yet, and I am not muting the audio, and I have to do that. Sorry, I'd love to play the audio, but the only audio device that plays is my headphones, and those are not plugged in at the moment. So all of this stuff works, the attribution now works, yeah, that works. And so yeah, I just click start. I do need to change the name. It says, that's it, the last squadron has been deployed. Excellent. If all goes well, this will be the decisive strike in the... enemy spotted. And then we have our little scout plane here, comes at a stealth, reading a massive power spike from its scanners. Seems like it collected a ton of data about our ship. We can't let it leave the area. It'll report our weaknesses to the enemy. We do have one fighter left on board. It's our only hope. Is it any good? It's the best. Alright. And so now we will get some hints. Say we can shoot down the enemy scout. This little yellow thing will tell us which direction to go. Can steer using A and D. I already know that. Can left click to use our machine gun. Will automatically reload whenever it is out of bullets. And if we keep hitting space, the yellow arrow will appear when we're facing the wrong way. And so yeah, now we can just go up to this thing and shoot it down, if my aim is any good. There we go, and it'll say that we win, and so we go to the next one. So we followed the flight path of the scout, and it led us here. Just as you feared, they have a secret base on this island, hidden from our scanners. Looks like they've got a ton of bombers. They must be preparing for an attack. We need to take them out. That fighter you shot down, the fighter that shot down the scout is equipped with missiles. But those work? Indeed. With the newest model as well. The best hardware our military has to offer. And so now we get launched at the island. Tells us we need to destroy 10 bombers. We can launch missiles with right click. And those reload automatically as well. Can speed up or slow down, W and S. So speeding up increases the viewing distance so that we can better see where we're going. And so yeah, we just need to go through and shoot the bombers. And not get destroyed by the by the scouts. Or by the enemies. Sometimes they freak out and I don't know why. Like they just, I don't know, they flip out and do weird things. I don't know entirely why, and I can't fix it at this point. It's too late. Well, it's not too late, but I don't want to spend any more time on it. But there is accompanying music to this, and there are sound effects. Again, they're just not being played. They also freak out whenever you get close to them. So there's 2 there, and so yeah, now that we've won that, it'll take us to the 3rd and final level, and that breaks. Okay, so finally we made it back to base. Don't celebrate yet. I'm reading a heavy attack force incoming. So now we have this heavy attack force going to destroy our base. Those are heavy gunships heading straight for this command center in the middle of the island. We need to destroy them before they get here. All squadrons are heavily damaged. Launch them anyway. They can hold off the main force while that fighter destroys the gunships. So now we get the objective, we shoot down the gunships, that's part of it, And then the other part is that we have to defend the command center, which is this building. So if any of the gunships reach this, we will lose. The gunships are tough and they take multiple hits to destroy. Okay. And so then one will spawn in and we'll have to go destroy it. And it will head straight for the center of the island, or at least it should. Okay. Can hit it with missiles, that makes it easier. And of course, if we go the wrong way, it'll tell us. So something does have a null reference, and I'm not sure why. But it's not causing too much of an issue. Oh boy, we're gonna lose. Maybe not, okay. Alright, yeah, this island is kind of barren. I would like to have populated it with more stuff, but I just didn't get the chance. Alright, I have one bullet left. Right, you. Right, can turn around and shoot you again. Perfect. I think we have one more to go. And then it will take us to the end game screen. Alright, so go here, we'll slow down. Fire on it a couple times, fire on it a couple times, missiles. Alright. So yeah, that's victory. And so now it just takes us to the end game screen where it links to Twitch, links to Games Plus Jam, and it links to YouTube. And so yeah, I do need to add an exit button on this screen because in the build it actually is kind of annoying to have to like Alt-Tab out of it. Looks like the game manager, something breaks. Why does the game manager break on line 73? Just curious. I'm not going to touch it because unless I know exactly what it is. Oh, it breaks because we're trying to call unlock controls. Oh no, with actually, I don't know why that breaks. I don't think that should break. Whatever, I don't care. But yeah, that's our entry for the Games Plus Jam 2021. So we will get rid of this now, and I should open Unity Hub. So I have started a project for that. So for the WoW Jam 3.0, which is the 2021 version, what is it? Theme is failure is progress. So mess with the concepts of winning and losing. So the thing that I was thinking, and I think I stole this from somebody, sadly, and I wish I remembered their name, but I don't, is the idea of just like Uno with personal decks. It's kind of the theory, is that you have, something like a cross between Uno and Yu-Gi-Oh! Almost. The idea is that you have a deck, a personalized deck, you have a discard pile, and then a personalized deck, a discard pile, and then there's like a deck in the middle, or like a pile of cards in the middle. 1 second. And your goal is to empty your deck as quickly as possible, so moving all of your cards from your deck to the discard pile as quickly as possible. So similar to Uno, basically, you want to reduce your hand to 0, or your deck, whatever you want to call it. And with that, there's cards that let you draw cards and, move cards from your hand to, or move cards from your opponent's hand, move cards from, just move cards around, basically. So the way that I'm thinking of it is, again, similar to like Uno mechanics, but a little bit more forgiving. So the idea is that you have like colors and numbers. So colors, probably low number, well, probably numbers 0 through 9. Yeah, and then like maybe 3 different colors, so like red, blue, and green or something. And the idea is that you can play any card that's identical to the previous one or higher than the previous one if it's a number. So the idea, and you can also play multiple cards in turn, and doing so will give you tokens, and then the tokens force you to draw more cards next turn. So there's this concept of, kind of betting. I don't know, it'll make more sense as we sort of do more of this. But there are some generalized things we can do, like general mechanics we can do before we worry about anything like that. So the first thing we will need is so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to work on just creating like a table and then like a deck of cards that the player can draw from, or that each player can draw from, and just work out the mechanics for drawing from the main deck, or for playing cards, drawing from your deck, and then the like discard and stuff like that. So the first thing we probably need is like a table. So this will be the table. This is 0, 0, 0. And then we will create a 3D object. Or actually, we'll create, just create a 3D object for now. This will be a quad, that's fine. And we can just rotate this 90 degrees. We'll call this the model. Actually, let's create an empty parent and just call that the model. In case we want to make this more detailed, we'll say part, All right, and then this, I guess, can have a nice size of, say, 10 by 10. That'll work. And then in materials, let's create a temporary folder. And I'll say temporary. That's not how you spell that. Temporary. All right. And then we will create another material. Just call this table or something. And then this will be like some kind of, whoops. This will be like some kind of brown color, I guess. So like some kind of wood. I'll give it like a wood texture later or something, and set its smoothness super low, so it's super rough. Not that it really matters. And then with that, we need something to represent a player. A couple things. So we need a player, and that we can put at 0, 0, 0 for the moment. Actually, I want that at the edge of the table. So I guess we'll say at -5. Then we can attach the camera to it and set it at 0 in the z-axis. And I'm actually kind of curious why it can't see the table. That was weird. All right. But yeah, we'll just have it kind of, facing maybe downward a little bit. Should be fine. Maybe go backwards so we can see the whole thing. This will all be relative to the actual, it's too far. Yeah, that'll be fine. Okay, so if we have a player, that shouldn't be, no, that should be there. We don't want to locate, or we don't want to look at the center, we want to look at the pivot point. So the player is going to have their deck, their discard, and their, well no, just deck and discard, I guess, are the only two. So let's create something, actually really quickly. What are the dimensions of standard playing card dimensions? What are the dimensions of a standard playing card? So 55.9 by 87.1. All right. So let's create a card. Let's create this at 0, 0, 0. And I am going to have the cards being 3D objects as opposed to being 2D. You could do it with 2D objects, but I want sort of like the 3D sort of feel from it. Let's create this as the model, create parent, call that model actually. And then this will be a part of the model. This will be at 90. So what is it? It's 55.9 by 87.1. So 55.9 by 87.1. All right, and that is the dimensions of it, and then we can just scale that down dramatically. Let's raise this up a little bit so it's not C-fighting. Yeah, we can scale this down dramatically. Super dramatically. And that's probably good. Probably something like that. All right, and so now we can set this at 0. Well, 0.1, I guess. Yeah, something like that. Probably want to remove the mesh colliders from these as well, now that I think about it. So I really don't want a mesh collider, I just want a really thin box collider. I mean, actually, we're probably not going to have any collision at all. Never mind, we don't need any collision. That's right. So yeah, that will be a card. Have some kind of card component attached to that. That does mean that most things will need their own, or most cards will need their own material. Also, this doesn't need to be a quad. What am I doing? This should be, well, no. This will be the front, and then we can duplicate this and make a back. And that can be minus 90, and the Y can be minus 0.01. It actually has some thickness to it. I don't know how that's going to work out. Probably 0.001. I know it's a terrible way to do this, but you know, it is what it is. Yeah, that will be the front. We can create a material for that. Say card front. Or no, card back actually. The back is going to have like a standardized material. So I'll have that. It won't be that color. It will be, I don't know, have it be some kind of blue color for now. That'll work. So now if we flip this over, yeah, we get some kind of blue. That's fine. Alright, so that is a card. Of course, we'll need like some kind of card component at some point. Probably want prefabs. Yeah. And this will just be a card, that'll be a player, and then, well actually, let's not worry about that, that'll be a table. Just delete you. That's fine. Alright, so the player, it's not quite done yet. We will want to copy this. We want to create an empty. This will be the discard. Or sorry, this will be the deck. And let's paste that into there. We can get rid of the back. Basically what I want to do is I want to create a area, like an indicator of where this is, or where the deck is going to go. So the deck will go, I guess, right, oops, probably like right there. Maybe like the deck. And then we'll do the same thing and duplicate this for the discard. And then this will have an offset like that. So now the player, yeah, they have their deck and then their discard. We can add some labels to those a bit later. But yeah, I kind of like that. And I guess we can have the model at 0, and then we can just raise these two up a little bit. Something's offset here. Or no, I guess it's not. Okay. Okay. But yeah, we'll have like some kind of outline on these, some kind of outline texture for these. We might even make them sprite renderers or something. That would probably work as well. But yeah, like whenever you draw, it'll come from the deck, and then whenever you discard stuff, it'll go to the discard. Alright. And then now the issue comes of how we're actually going to make the player's hand. Not entirely sure how that's going to work. I have some thoughts though. I think what we'll do is we'll create an empty. I'll call this like the hand anchor. My thought is that we're going to have some kind of anchor where we use that to compute like the arc of where the cards are going to go in the player's hand or something. Not entirely sure how it's going to work, but yeah. So with that, what we can do is we could probably create a prefab of this. Well, actually, no. Let's create an empty parent and call this the camera position. So if this is the like player, then the camera will end up there. Like if this is the person that's actually playing the game, the camera will go there. And what we want is we want this to be actually at 0, 0, 0 and at 0 rotation. So now the camera can go into that and be at 0, 0, 0. Yeah, okay. So if this is a human player, this will have a camera inside of it. If it's not a human player, it won't. So I guess what we'll do is we'll create this as the prefab. And then we'll put that in there. All right. Okay. So with this, what we probably want to do is we probably need, or we definitely need, like a player component, I think. So yeah, the first thing I want to work on is getting the actual like player, or the actual like hand stuff kind of working. Like when you put something, whenever you put a card into your hand, or whenever you put multiple cards into your hand, it needs to actually look okay. So that's the first thing I want to do. So I'll say player component. And okay, if this ever loads up. So yeah, I think the way that we're going to do that is, well, there's a way to like compute an angle from like an offset of something else. So have like a public transform, call this the hand anchor. So now we will have public game object, we'll say card prefab. This will be temporary for the moment. Well, say temporary. And what we'll do is we'll have a private void on, or not on it. We'll have private void update. We're going to have a public void add card. And then public void remove card. These will just be for testing. Well, yeah, this is for testing. And so on update, if input.get key down, so we'll say keycode.q, that will add a card. Otherwise, or sorry, not otherwise, but just in general, if get key down keycode.e, we want to remove a card. We'll say add card. Nope, not acceleration event. Add card. And for this, we'll say remove card, or remove card. All right. And actually, for this, we want to pass in a game object card. Say card is equal to instantiate card prefab. And at this, we'll say vector3.0, because we're going to be setting the position anyway. And then the quaternion.identity. And then we'll just add that card. And again, I could simplify this, but it's just not necessary. So now how are we actually going to compute the angle? So let me think about quaternions. So there's quaternion dot angle, so we can find, so if we know the up rotation, if we know that something is facing up, we could, so based on the number of cards in the hand, we want the angle of the actual, like the spread of the cards to increase a little bit. So that would mean that every time we add a card, we need to recompute the position of every card in the hand. So we'll say public list of game objects. This will be cards in hand. And so this can just be a new list of game objects. Okay. And I think we don't need collections, we just need generic. All right. So we'll say that the angle, or the spread, is equal to cards in hand. Say normally it's 30 degrees, plus for each additional card we add 5 degrees for the moment. And of course we can adjust these numbers later. Now we'll say 15. That would mean at 20 they're 10 degrees apart, 30 they're, or 20, 25, that's probably fine. And so, I guess we'll say the bar minimum, or we'll say left, if the leftmost card is going to be at the spread over 2 minus, it's going to be at the negative half, so that's the angle of the leftmost card. And then that's going to mean that we need to create a new quaternion. We also need to know the magnitude, basically how far away it is from the anchor. And so what we can do is we can say, we can just create a magnitude here, magnitude, I don't know, we'll just say 2. I don't know how good that's going to be, but we'll figure it out. And so that, yeah, magnitude, that's how you spell that. So we'll say for each, and I guess card, no, say card in hand, call this new card, not card, new card. We'll say for each card in cards in hand. So this should give us, yeah, game object, okay. We will say, first thing we need to do is we need to say cards in hand dot add new card. Right, so now we have the updated count, and so for each card, what we will do is we'll say, well, actually in this case we need the index, not the actual card. Say for int index is equal to 0, index is less than cards in hand dot count, index plus plus. What we can say, oh, I've typed something wrong. It's not for each, it's for. Right. We can just convert this to a var, it's fine. So for index, index less than cards in hand dot count, what we can say is that the angle for that card is equal to left plus index times the spread divided by the number of cards in hand. I believe. Cards in hand dot count. So this should compute the angle of each one, and then multiply it. So spread divided by cards in hand. So this is the number of degrees for each card, and then this is the number of times you multiply that by that degree plus left. And so I believe what we can do, this might not work because I don't know if you can assign, you may not be able to assign negative angles, negative Euler angles to quaternions. I think I've had issues with that before. But what we can do is we can then say, actually, geez, I'm trying to think of this. Actually, there's a couple ways to do this. Because we need to create basically a rotation, and then after that we need to create, interesting, we need to create an actual position, but it needs to be a vector. It starts at the anchor, gets rotated by a certain number of degrees, and then gets offset. But I don't know how to offset any rotation. So you get the dot, no, it's the, geez. So we know what the angle should be. So I think it would be, I guess what we can do is we can say var position. No, wait. So the rotation is going to be equal to, or no, it'll be the, say card is equal to cards in hand at index. I'm going to say card.rotation, or .transform.rotation is equal to quaternion.Euler .Euler. And since this is facing, since the anchor is going to be facing up, the rotation axis we want to use is the z-axis, because that goes away from the camera. We're going to say angle, and then I think the other two can be 0. Or actually, we can just keep them where they were. No reason to change them. Angle.Euler angles.y. I think I've logicked through this correctly. Could just be wrong. It's probably a much easier way to do this as well. And then I think the card.transform.position is equal to the anchor, or the hand anchor .transform.position plus card.transform.up times the magnitude is, I think, the way to do that, because this should get the local up, which should be at the angle away from, yeah, that might work. That might work. So yeah, let's see what we get. And then remove card is going to be var, or no wait, it's cards in hand of, can we just get the last? No, of course not. We'll say cards in hand count -1, that's the last. We'll just say game object dot destroy that, and we don't need the game object, right? So that will remove cards. And I guess what we need to do is we need to just say public void recompute positions, recompute card positions. Yes, okay. And so what that's going to be is this. There we go. We just add a card and then we recompute the positions. And yeah, because adding and removing a card, both of those cause all the positions to be recomputed. Perfect. So I think that will do something. Alright, so let's open the prefab in isolation, right? Then we'll create a player component, alright. And the card prefab, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Card prefab is going to be that. The hand anchor is going to be there. And yeah, we'll have 0 cards in hand. Alright, so if I play this, then I add a card. Interesting, that's doing actually much closer to what I wanted than what I would have expected. Okay. So let's see. Oops. So add a couple cards there. So what's it doing? So card is being rotated on the x-axis, which is correct. But it looks like the anchor is what's causing the issue, I think. So where is that? That's there. So now I would have thought, oh no, okay, the x-axis, right, because we're using the x-axis, not the z-axis. I'm an idiot. All right. Why did I think that we wanted to use the x-axis? No, we want to use this z-axis. Right, I even set the z-axis. I don't think I... Yeah, I didn't set the z-axis, but I, for whatever reason, typed x-axis. Alright. Yeah, that actually worked a lot better than I would have expected. Alright. Well, let's see. I said Q, 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 Q. Yep, okay. It's working a little bit better than I would have expected. Okay, so that sets the Z. Is it the Z or is it the Y? Huh. I'm actually confused now. Wait a minute. Oh, okay, right, because the card needs to be facing up. So actually, these need an angle of -90. And not on the Z, but on the... No. Okay. Right, we're getting that weird thing again where you try to... What is the actual rotation? It doesn't work the way you think it does. Huh. That's interesting. So really, if we rotate this first, and then we apply global rotation. So if I rotate this that way, are we modifying local or global rotation? Because it looks like here it's the x-axis, but then it's facing us, which we don't want. Modify the global rotation first. Then Z rotation? Nope, there's no way to make it do that. Why is there no way to make it do that, actually? Wait, hang on, I'm now confused. Because if you rotate this up, okay, then you rotate across the z-axis, I am actually confused as to why... Okay, that's a little bit confusing. Well, okay. Nope, that's not gonna work. Ooh, actually, just thought of something super hacky. It might work. So if I create an inner ring where I put the cards, and then I have an outer ring where I have them look, I really believe that the local, yeah, the local there, okay, it's facing up. So, what if, because we can set the transform's position, we know that that's working, I believe, correctly. But what if we had the card look at, so actually, I grab this, so this is the rotation. What if we computed a position on that circle, and then we had the card look at that? So that would be a quaternion dot look rotation, right? And so if we set the vector 3 grid rotation, specify forward and upward rotation. So I think if we set the, oh wait, actually, no, we wouldn't want that. I want quaternion dot, so we can create an angle, right? We can create a rotation. Hang on. Let me undo all of this. Okay. So this is the correct rotation. So 0.0f and 0.0f, right? We can create that. And I think what we can do is you can do a thing where you can multiply a quaternion by a vector, right? You can do like vector 3 dot up times a rotation, or is it a rotation times a quaternion? I thought it was one of those two. So if we said var a is equal to this, yeah, so I think that returns a vector, right? Yes, okay, so I think it returns a vector rotated by a quaternion. So if we said that times magnitude plus 1, right? Why does that not work? Oh, right, because times magnitude plus 1. So this will create a rotation this will create a position, I guess we'll say up. So this will create a position rotated, or basically a vector that's been rotated by, should create a vector of magnitude 3 that's been rotated by this angle. So the idea is that we assign the transformed out position to that. So I guess we'll say var rotation is equal to this. And then what we can do is we can say that we want the card to be at that position. It's not transformed out up, it's rotation. So it's position plus the rotation times vector 3, or times hand anchor dot up times the magnitude. So that creates the card position, and then the card, and then we can say dot look at, transform dot look at. Then we can tell it to look at magnitude plus 1 times the rotation. So that might work. Wait. Oh, with the vector 3. Does that really need an up? Really? No, that should be world position. Oh, magnitude vector 3 dot up. I guess it's hand anchor dot up times magnitude plus 1. All right. So I think that might work, if I'm not crazy, which is possible. Okay, so it doesn't work. Actually, I think it is sort of working. Trying to see here. What's the local? So it for some reason thinks that this is. Why does it think that it wants to be looking that way? Yeah, I don't know why it thinks. I don't know why it thinks that. Because it looks like cards in hand. Well, actually, it looks like hand anchor. Isn't it just vector 3 dot up times the magnitude? Because it's that plus rotation times vector 3 dot up. It should be rotating. Vector 3 dot up should be rotating across the z-axis. Yeah, for whatever reason, it seems hell-bent on facing that way. Because I thought the thought the z-axis would be what it looked at, but it looks like it's... Unless I don't understand the rotation stuff. So I think we can do debug.drawline. So let's draw a line from vector3, or no, from hand anchor dot transform dot position to let's say this to there, and we'll give it a duration of 1.0f. Say color dot white, I guess. Okay. Let's see what that does. If I'm right, I think I know what this will do. Alright. So let's check this out. I think this is the best way to view it. Okay. So yeah, those are correct. That's exactly what we want to see. So now why... So that's that. So looking at rotation... Oh, do we need to add U in? Probably need to add U in, right? Is that what it is? That's probably what it is, actually. That's very interesting. I'm not sure why that's happening. Right. So it is looking at something, but it's not, but for whatever reason, it's not actually facing. Interesting. So the question is, it's looking at that. Transform deposition plus vector3.up because it should be this. Something like that. I think that's right. Let's see. Nope, it's still not doing what I want. Because it should be trying to look. The thing is, it's trying to, for whatever reason, I don't know why where it's getting the Y rotation. That's the thing that's confusing me. I think otherwise this is actually working as intended. Because that's what it's looking at. It's looking at this times rotation.up times magnitude plus 1, yeah, okay. Oh my god, stop. Alright, let's try this. Yeah, so it is doing what I thought it would do. They're just not rotated the actual correct way. And that I don't have an explanation for. Is it because we're zeroing out the rotations? No. Well, actually. Possibly. Yeah, I don't know exactly why it's getting that rotation. I mean, we are setting the rotation. No, we're setting the position of the card. Then we're setting the rotation. I mean, I guess we could... No, because the card doesn't look that way. I guess we could set the forward of the card to be the face of the card. I guess we could do that. That might work better, actually, rather than this being... Well... Yeah, I think we'll just set the forward of the card to be the face of the card, and that'll probably make more sense. That way we can have it look at a position that is on the inside of like an inner ring or something. Problem with that is that then the cards won't be facing up. So that won't work. So it looks at this. Is there any way to give a world axis? We can look at that. We can look at the world up. So we set this to vector3 dot forward. Out of curiosity, what would that do? Exactly what I want. Perfect. Well, actually, no. It needs to be minus vector3 dot forward, but it sort of does work. Now, of course, we need to change the magnitude a little bit, and maybe have a little bit easier way of viewing the cards, but other than that, I think it might actually work. So I think this should be minus vector3 dot forward, and then the magnitude should be maybe 1.0, right? Something like that. Alright, well, can't see the cards, but you know, making a little bit of progress. Yeah, it does spread them out correctly. And now it's just a question of how you can actually see them, but maybe you can. Maybe we just, yeah, I don't know. There's gotta be a way. I think we can just set the, like each successive one, we can just give it an offset of some kind. But anyway, I am going to take a short break because my brain is a little bit fried. I'll be back in maybe 10 minutes, and we'll work on making this a little bit more legible and adding some materials and stuff like that. So anyway, see you in a minute. Thank you for tuning in. Alright, and we are back. Nope, that's not right. That's correct. Alright. So, what I want to do. I want to, first off, simplify this code. So first thing is going to be public, not public, protected, final, or not final, oh god. Protected constant, float, and then we'll just say magnitude. So we'll keep this at 1.0 for now. So yeah, I want to create a constant for that, so we can get rid of this. And then anywhere we get errors, we just replace it with u. Alright. What we can do is we can say, what else can we do here? Can we have the spread, and have that be a constant. This is fine how it is. Oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to do is I wanted to create a card component. And what we will do is we'll have, actually no, we'll have a follow component. And so what this will do is this will cause one object to follow another. The idea is that we're going to have, instead of setting the positions directly, what we'll do is we will set the, hang on, I have to fix the camera. Cool, there we go. What we'll do is we will not set the position directly. Oh wait, I have to fix that as well. Alright. Yeah, we will set a target for it to follow. Like a, we'll set some kind of target for it to go to. We'll say public transform target. And then in private void update, we will say if not target, then we just, oops, if not target, then we return. So if we don't have a target, or if the target has been deleted for some reason, or for that reason, we just return. Otherwise, we'll have a couple things. We have public bool match rotation, and public bool match position. So we'll say if match position, then we will have, what we want is we basically want the card to move kind of smoothly toward its new position. And so that's why we're doing this, is so that we can just tell it to track, or yeah, we can tell it basically to track a, we can tell it to track something, like track a, like an invisible game object, and then we can move that invisible game object around, and it will cause, sorry, trying to center my camera, and it will cause the card itself to move in kind of a smooth way. So we'll say transform.position is equal to vector3.lerp between transform.position and target.position by 0.1f. We'll say if match position and vector3.distance between the transform.position and the target.position is greater than some kind of threshold. We'll have a protected constant float move threshold. And that will be 0.05, I think, and then we'll have a protected constant float rotate threshold, and that'll be like half of a degree or something, because half of a degree probably isn't that relevant. And so yeah, if it's greater than the move threshold, then we actually want to move. Then we say if match rotation and the quaternion angle between the transform.rotation and the target.rotation is greater than the move threshold, or not move, but rotate threshold. Then we want the transform.rotation to be equal to quaternion.lerp between it needs to be times time dot delta time as well. Times time dot delta time. I believe. Or no, it actually doesn't. We need to alert between the transform dot rotation and the target dot rotation by 0.0 or by 0.01. There we go. So yeah, we'll do something like that. And then when actually we need a backing version of this, or I always forget how this works. I think it's fine to do this. Say target. No, we don't. Okay, we'll be fine. Yeah, this is fine. So we'll have that, and then we'll have... Actually, no, that's fine. Yeah, this is all fine. Okay. So in the player component, when we add a card, let's say a new card, or actually no, we want to do a couple other things first. Here, what we want to do is we want to do our card will say var card position is equal to new game object. So create a new game object. And then what we want to do is we want to assign the card position to there. And then what we want to do is we want to say card.get component, and then this will be the follow component. We'll say .target is equal to card position .transform. Right, so now the card, that should cause the card to lerp to the correct position. Yes. All right. So now here, we want to create I think these are actually correct. Have the hand position. And the actual position that we want for card position is the hand position plus I want to create a new offset on the z-axis. So vector3 or no, hand anchor dot transform or dot forward times 0.01, and then this will be multiplied by the index, something like that. So we have 3 vectors here that we're adding together. And so what this will do is this will make the cards sort of staggered a little bit so we can see each one. Really, this can be 0.01 or 0.05. So it should be something like that, but actually a var base position is going to be equal to this. Then this will be the base position plus that, and then this will be the base position plus that. Okay. And I think that will work. As crazy as it looks. All right, and so now what we need is the card. We want the card to have a follow component. A follow component, yep. And it will match position and rotation. Now let's see what we get. So if I put Q, oh, that's interesting. It just happens to come from the deck, by the way. That's not how it's programmed. But yeah, we get something kind of like that. I kind of like that. Yeah, maybe they're a little bit too, I don't know. Maybe they're a little bit too spaced out on the z-axis. But yeah. Let's see here. 0.01. And then really these need to be instantiated not at vector 3.0, but at the at the deck position. So we said public transform deck. What we can do is we can do deck dot, no, this will be a game object actually, not a transform. We'll do deck dot transform dot position and then deck dot transform dot rotation, and this will look like we're actually drawing it. Rotation. Yeah, this will look like we're actually drawing the card, as long as we set up the deck right. So if I open you, then the player, so I set the deck to be right there. No, I set the deck to be right there. Yes, okay. So now, if we do that, let's go here. Yeah, okay. Oops. No. There, okay. Yeah, it looks kind of like we're drawing the cards. Alright. Yeah, it does move the ones. Yeah, there we go. So that's kind of neat. I like that. It's a little... It'd be kind of sad to have this hand, but you know, whatever. Yeah, now we can't delete these though, so we need to fix that. But anyway, this is add a card. That's going to be temporary. So remove card, what's that going to be? Okay. So we're going to say, we actually don't, well, we do want to delete this game object, but what we want is not cards in hand, but card positions. Card positions. Oh no, this will be cards in hand. We'll have a public list game object. Card positions. Positions. It's the same thing, a new list of game objects. And we want to do the same thing, is we want to destroy that game object. Card positions. And then we want to say cards in hand dot remove. We remove at, I guess we just say var last card, last index, because these will all be the same size. The cards in hand dot count -1. That'll be fine. And we'll say remove or destroy at last index and then remove at last index. Cards in hand, remove at last index, and then card positions dot remove at last index. Alright, and then we recompute all the card positions. And so that should let us remove cards from a hand just by deleting them. No, it shouldn't, because we don't actually assign the card position. What we want to do is we want to say card positions dot add card position. Okay. Now that should work. That won't discard them, that'll just destroy them. Okay. So what we do is we draw. Cool. And then we can just destroy some of these. Yep. And that'll just destroy the last one. So we do this, and yeah, the cards respace correctly. So draw a bunch of them, and then we delete them. Problem is that it keeps this rotated. It's kind of annoying. Also, I do want to check if I rotate this a little bit. Do those get the same rotation? I don't think they do. No, they don't. Okay, that's unfortunate. We can fix that. By rotating the position that they look at. So we can rotate it outward a little bit. Well, I don't know. Yeah, also, wait a minute. Why are these not getting destroyed? Huh. Alright, that's a problem. Those need to get destroyed. Yeah, no, really, why are those not getting destroyed? Remove card. So card positions.add. Why are those not getting destroyed? That's weird. Okay. Oh, because it's... Oh, okay. Right. I know why. Because when we recompute the card positions, we actually don't want to remove this. We want to just clear it. Alright. So we'll say for each var position in card positions. Yeah. And then we'll just say destroy position. Is that fine? Is this a transform? No, this is a game object. Alright, yeah. And then we can say card positions.clear. Yeah. There we go. That should do it. It does, it's unfortunately like a little bit inefficient, but I think it's actually fine. Yeah, there we go. All right. Okay. Perfect. We could also just rotate the things here by like something. Maybe we don't want to do that. Well, actually, maybe we do. What would that look like if they were all rotated that way? What if I just try to rotate you across the x-axis by 10 degrees? Say card position dot rotation or dot transform dot rotation times equal to quaternion dot Euler. Then we say new vector 3. Then I think that is the x-axis. We say minus 10 degrees. And we just rotate you like that. Then what? And again, there's probably much better ways to do this, but I don't know them. That should rotate you backwards, right? That's rotating you forwards, but same concept. Let's try what happens. Right, let's see. That's not entirely doing what I want. I think it's a little bit better though. I think, yeah, because it's holding, it's basically giving it kind of a, yeah, bend kind of like that. I kind of want that, yeah, I kind of want the positions near the inside to be closer, rather than have it be like this. It's probably fine. Like if you're over here, I don't think you can, yeah, you can't see anything, so it's probably fine. And if we delete these, yeah. Okay. All right. So that's probably fine. All right, so the next thing we probably want to do is we probably want to open up Inkscape, and we probably want to make some cards. So let us see here. This is actually probably fine. What I will do is I will not do that. I will open up document properties. Let's get rid of the page border. And then what was the actual size? So it's 55.9 by 87.1. Alright, so if we create a rectangle, here, then we say that the width is 55.9 by a height of 87.1. Nope, 87.1. We have a perfectly sized card. Set the border size to 2, probably thick enough. And we do want soft borders on these, probably, or soft bevels on the edges. So we can save this, and I will put this not in there. Put this in. Where will I put this? I will put this not here. In here. In here, in there, assets, and then we'll create a new raw, and we'll just call this images. Sure, that'll work. Alright, now it's saved. And so, I don't know, what kind of design can we make on this that isn't copyright infringement? Can remove the fill. We can probably no, let's not do that. Let's just draw something. No, because that's too much like the actual game. Guess we can do, because we want the number to be in the upper left. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll just do this for now. Yeah, that's probably fine. Let's just have this be in here. And I guess we can do that. Yeah, and just have that, even that out a little bit. Oops. Something like that. No, I don't want that. Yeah, something like that's probably fine. Then, how can I actually generate the path for this? I guess what we can do is we can have you, and you like that. Does that create a complete? No. Does that complete that path? You need to somehow select that. You can select you there and there. I think we can do path dot union. If I add fill to this, yeah, there we go. All right. I add fill like, not that color. Oh god. Color are we gonna go for? Do something like that. More muted. Well, actually. Yeah, something like, I don't know. Something like that. Then now we can straighten, well, actually, we don't even need to straighten these. We just need to push this to the back. Whoops. I'm very confused. Oh, that's why. Alright, well, just delete that then. Yep, solves that problem. And we just push that to the back, okay. Now we have a couple things to deal with. This, for instance, needs to be curved. This needs to be curved. Alright. Then that needs to be curved. Alright. Something like that. Then maybe over here, widen that out and widen that out. So yeah, we'll have the number in the upper left and then in the lower right. So we'll say this is card 1 for the moment. Oops. Alright. And then with text, let us, how do we actually make this, say Arial, say bold, and I think stroke for numbers gives it an outline. The stroke style is 0.1. Yeah, okay. So 0.3. Not for numbers, for text is what I meant to say. Yeah, that'll be 1. And same thing, we'll have another instance of it here. So the upper and lower left, alright. Then same thing here, we can just have a larger version of it, much larger. And it will match whatever color is on the card. Just say that that's centered. What is the fill color here? It's that. Alright. This text doesn't have a fill, it has... Oh wait, no it does. It's that, alright. Then the stroke style is like that, and it's dark. Alright. Yeah, something like that. Then we'll say file, export. And I want to export this into our project. So I'm going to create an images folder. Images. Then I guess we'll say new images cards. Call this blue 1. Card blue 1. Alright. I'll save that, and then I think the height should be 512. Nah, let's just make it all 1024. Yeah, that'll work. Then let's export that. Alright. Then now, is there any way to multi-edit text? There isn't, is there? Of course there's not. That would be too easy. One, nope. 2, there we go. And save the style, yep, 2, and then save the style, there we go. Now we can export you. Export as card blue 2. Right. And then let's export that. Okay. Now in Unity, let us go into this card prefab, and then we will open in isolation. We have our images, we have cards, and then these two need to have alpha as transparent. They have a pixels per unit of 1024. There we go. Yep. Okay, and so this is the front. This will be the base. Or no, that'll be the front. Then this will be like the detail. So that will be 111, perfect. And so the detail material is going to change. It's 0.01. Okay, so the detail is going to look really weird. I think that hit the front. Yeah, that hit the front. No, we don't want that. We want you to have, no. I want the detail to be just above the front. Like, that's what we want. Oh, okay, so it's minus. No. Oh, okay, it's the z-axis. Sure, minus 0.01. It's fine, and then this will be card. Alright. Need to change this to URP. This is unlit. And then U will be the base map. And then it's going to be transparent, right? Probably want a card base. So we'll have this. For that, we'll just move this over. We'll add a white fill to it. Wait, what? Not the fill. That needs to be completely a thing, yeah. Wait a minute. Okay. That's fine. Alright, so let's export this as card base. Save. Let's export. Alright. So we go back into Unity, I have the card base here. Alright, sprite, change the pixels per unit to 1024, and we apply this, and then the alpha will be transparent, correct? Okay. So now in the card base, we can actually deactivate the detail. We'll just set the card base there. Right, and then this is going to be URP unlit, and we're going to have a base to be that. And then here, the material, the alpha is transparent. Then we set the detail. All right, perfect. I like the way that looks. All right, so now if we go into, the camera's flipping out. Okay. We go into here and we start drawing cards. All right, so yeah, we can, oh, that's interesting. Not entirely sure why that happens. I think it's the rotation, or is it just distance? That's weird that we get that kind of clipping. That's really weird to me. Okay, sure. Get rid of this. I guess we need to get rid of that rotation then, because I would bet that that's what's causing it. It's at least not helping. Alright, let's see. No, they're too close. Okay. So let's undo that. And then what's the spacing? 0.01, so 0.05. But that seemed a little bit too close. Or too far, I should say. No, that still has clipping. Really? I don't, okay, it doesn't have clipping, it's lying to me. So yeah, this is fine. I'm not a huge fan of it because it's hard, it can be hard to read, but I guess if we maximize this, it's not that bad. And plus, this is going to be closer to the bottom of the screen. There's probably ways to fix this. But yeah. Alright, if I maximize you, no, I'm not going to maximize. Can I get away with tilting this at 5 degrees? Okay, let's see. Do we get any kind of clipping? Actually, can we get away with tilting it at, say, 15 degrees? Let's see what that looks like. No, 15 causes problems. Okay. So maybe 10. Nope, that's still an issue. Alright. And it only gets worse the more that we add. Yep. Alright. Not exactly sure why. Those are spread apart. Does it have to do with the angle? Nope, those just appear to be... It has something to do with the rendering. Weird. Not entirely sure how to fix that either. I mean, it is still visible, but not very well. Yeah, I don't know. What is it? Is it... Did I miscalculate something? Okay, so the front, back, no. Or is it just not able to work with numbers that small? No, everything seems fine. Maybe if I open this in isolation, maybe having the front and the detail, maybe having them parented doesn't work? Also, why is that like that? 2, 10, 8. -1? No. 0.1. 0.01. Okay. Interesting. And okay, so that does separate a little bit. 0.1. 0.5? Something like that. Maybe just having them parented to each other was the issue. Nope, not quite. Alright, so after a while, yeah, they do just start clipping. Maybe it can only render a certain number of planes before it starts freaking out. So maybe the card just needs to be combined. Maybe it can't. Maybe we just need a unique version of each card or something, which is possible. It's not terrible. Alright, let me put this here, and then let me just send this directly to the back. And then let's export you over that. And then we can replace it, yeah. So in the card itself, we will not even have the detail, we'll just have the front. And what we will do is we'll have the blue card be just on the front. Alright. We need to reset this up to URP unlit. Unlit, yep. And then the base map is that. And then it has, let's say alpha clipping instead of transparent. Does it ever start clipping? No, okay. So I think with that we can actually reduce the distance now. All right. Is that good? I think it's perfectly fine. So yeah, you can see all the cards. Yeah, everything's great. Okay, I like that. Yeah, appears to work fine. All right, and so yeah, now we just have the cards track various positions, and yeah, we can animate them pretty easily now. We don't have to do any kind of crazy UI animations to make this actually look 3D. We just basically need to get the card positions to compute a little bit better than this. But I think the ideal for the camera, let's see, what's the ideal position for the camera? Let us do this, and the ideal is probably like right there, and the actual hand anchor itself is probably like right there. That probably needs to go up a little bit. Yeah, nah, down a little bit. Alright, nope. Down a little bit like that, maybe like right there. Also, if we re-angle this, does that change the card angle? No, not at all. Okay. Good to know. Yeah, we can do something like this. Kind of like that. And then we just need some way of selecting which card to play, which we can do at some other point. Yeah, I kind of like that. Okay. probably want... I'm trying to think of what else we could do. My brain is fried. Alright, so we need... This is like a draw sort of thing, like a draw card. Yeah, it's like a draw card, okay. I'm trying to think of how I want to do the rest of the game. So what we need, so we have the card prefab that's temporary, so what we're going to need is we're going to need some kind of deck. We're going to need some kind of deck component. And then also, yeah, various types of decks. So like a discard deck, a card to play sort of, or a discard deck. Yeah, like a deck that you can draw from, a deck that you can discard into, so that's like your discard pile. And then like a deck, or a, yeah, so basically decks are going to have two purposes. They're going to be, yeah, they're going to have two purposes. They're going to be things that you can discard into or things that you can draw from. I'm trying to think of all the implications of that and when we can work on that. We can probably work on that later today. Because yeah, I kind of want to take a break and get some lunch because it's like 10 minutes to 1. I have not had lunch yet. So yeah, I guess what we will do, I will call it here, and what we will do is we will come back for some GeneForge mutagen at, what is it, 2 o'clock? Yeah, around 2 o'clock, yeah, 2 Central, and we'll go with that for maybe 2 or 3 hours, and then we'll switch over to, again, the Game Jam stuff. So thank you guys for joining me, and I will be back in about an hour for some mutagen stuff. And after that, we'll be doing some more Game Jam stuff much later. So yeah, thank you for watching, and see you in a bit.